Two. Good afternoon. It is. Well, it's a chilly Monday, the first Monday of February here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Nate Manahan, but this is the high five. And, well, it's warm everywhere when you have the best payments professionals with you. And let me bring up on screen the man, the myth, the legend, right in the middle. He's going to bring all kinds of intellect into this guy's discussion about CBD.
Oh yeah,
He's bringing
looking
it
forward
all
to it.
in. But hey, you guys got what? A good 12 inches of snow up there this week. You ready to just get that snowmobile and get right into the office, Brian Linky?
Nate, let me tell you this, okay? Okay, I don't snowmobile, okay? I don't snowmobile because if I snowmobile, I'd be the guy that you'd be reading about who wrecks his snowmobile and just about kills himself, if not killed himself, and then you'd be reading about me saying that guy's never ridden a snowmobile before in his life. What in the world is that idiot doing on a snowmobile? That's me.
Well, we are glad you keep yourself in one piece, and on that,
Barely.
we're glad. And the place I know who does a little snowmobiling, going down the downhill skiing, going out and gonna get see a little PGA golf, well deserved little vacation later this week for Mister Danny Shard. I was cheering for Jordan Spieth yesterday. I don't watch many of these as much as you do. I usually it's just the majors, but I was catching up on the pro am yesterday. Jordan didn't follow through with me, but it was a good. I enjoyed the last couple holes, and it looked beautiful. You're going to have some fun this week.
Yeah, I skied in the morning and then got back home, did some honeydews, and then watched the Pebble Beach AT&T Pro Am, and Jordan Spieth has let me down way too much lately, and so I decided not to throw my money on him, and it was a good thing I didn't because he buckled again. And so, yeah, this week, taking a little vacation. The wife and I are going down to Scottsdale. We're going to go to the Waste Management PGA Golf Tournament. So if you're in the Phoenix area, hit me up. Let's hook up. But I'm also planning to really get after Jordan Spieth from the sidelines there. So it's we're gonna do some heckling, and there's no better heckler than Brian Linky, but I'll do my best.
That is for sure. I've been with Brian Linky. You've been even more in heckling situations, Brian. You are the pro when it comes to heckling.
I changed the game, Nate.
You did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, absolutely.
I changed the game.
All right. So we're going to talk about things that may even give you a little more relaxation when you
Speaking
get
of
into
changing the game,
yeah.
right?
Hey,
Yeah.
absolutely. The CBD world has changed. When CBD became, I don't even know, the government and the Farm Bill, was it 5 years ago now, and it everywhere could sell it. I mean, suddenly there is a CBD store. Somebody's selling CBD on every corner here in the greater Indianapolis area. I know in other places, there's some places where it's there's THC and CBD. But CBD was still kind of hard to process and was considered very high risk. But Danny, we've seen a change on that, and at least a change for our opportunities with our introduction of First Fresno as a new underwriting bank. Can you explain a little bit where we are with CBD right now?
Well, let me
Yeah.
let me ask you a question first. Before, let me ask you this: when did it start being called CBD? Like I thought it was just weed, and, like hash. And, you know what I'm saying?
I get,
Like, what's all the T8, all these fancy names? I don't get it.
well, okay, there are differences. Well, Danny will walk us through the difference between CBD and a little
I
cannabis.
can't. I am looking forward to this one.
The goal with this conversation is to educate on a variety of levels. I'm going to avoid the conversation of use and personal use because Brian, I think you can go into that yourself and do your own testing on your own time. But yeah, so I mean, CBD is an extract from the hemp flower, right? But it's not THC. Now, there's some CBD or some forms of CBD that have a small percentage of THC, and I'll kind of go through that as well. So yeah, historically, anything marijuana related or even in the same zip code couldn't be touched, and that was by the majority of banks and of processing companies. Now, you've probably heard of offshore banks and places like that that have found an roundabout way to get some of these accounts approved. Some of it might be shady underwriting. They might be doing something like a jewelry card where they basically buy a gift card and use that to buy a product, which happens instantaneously, but it's not necessarily on the up and up. But we've seen as these products become legal at more and more states around the country, we're seeing sponsor banks open more and more up to these as well. Now, marijuana is still illegal at the federal level. And until that gets fully regulated across all 50 states and at that federal level, we're just not going to see the ability to do that through your normal low risk bank. Now, there are certain banks that can do it. You see PIN debit only because they're staying away from the card brands. We're just not there. So our focus right now is on the CBD side of it. So CBD has always been very difficult, and if you've been with us for any amount of time that you've known, up to 2 months ago, the only CBD that we could even consider was topical CBD. We're talking lotions, bath bombs, anything like that. Brian puts them on his knees because he's had some challenges with his knees. The CBD lotions work wonders for that. Have you ever tried that, Brian?
I have.
Yeah, it
I
works
have,
well.
Dan, and let me tell you this: they don't work.
They're not strong enough.
Right.
but that was it. Anything ingestible we couldn't touch. So what's really popular is edibles, tinctures, things like this. They're really popular in the CBD space, and we just couldn't even touch them. Couldn't go near them. Enter in our new sponsor bank, First Fresno, and it's gone in stages where we've done a test, basically on with a small percentage of our partners to board certain CBD deals. And that initial stage was we can consider card present edible CBD must be fully reviewed by our sponsor bank. If it's anything more than 30% of their products, then we're going to need a bunch of other information. And what we're saying there is that, we can set up a vape store that, or a tobacco store, for example, that has CBD as one of its 5,000 SKUs, and we can board it no problem. That's what we were saying initially. Anything more than that, if we were trying to set up Linky CBD shop, Linky CBD layer, something like that, it's got to have a good name to it. We were really going to put them through some difficult underwriting to get it done. Anything card not present was going to be very difficult to get approved. Now, fast forward, a couple of months, and it's really progressed in the CBD space and what we're able to accept. Now, any merchant that's accepting CBD in a card present, we can board them just like any other retail merchant. It's low risk, and we've got no issues with them whatsoever. So, Linky's CBD layer, if that's all he sells, it's approved. Now, we want to be careful a little bit on this because these types of merchants typically sell other products that are prohibited at the sponsor bank level. Kratom is a really popular one. Delta 8 is really popular. You've also heard of Delta 9. And what those are is those are strains of THC. Obviously, with
I haven't heard of any of that, Dan.
So with THC being illegal at the federal level, we're not going to be able to approve those. Now, the exception to that is Delta 9 is in certain types of CBD, I should say. Then your merchants are going to be able to provide lab reports that show what makes up that CBD product that they're selling. And that's going to show what level of Delta 9 they have in them. And as long as they're under 0.3%, we're going to be able to approve them. So we're getting into these types of opportunities that you're getting lab reports for products and things like that. That's going to be a requirement if it's advertised that way. But if we're able to find through underwriting, if it's on social media, any advertising that they do anywhere, if it's on Yelp, if we find that they have advertised that they sell Kratom, if they advertise that they sell Delta 8, anything like that, immediate decline. We're not going to be able to board them. If for any reason they once sold those products and no longer do, which we're finding is the case with a lot of them, because these merchants want to start selling these products and then they realize that it's ruining their processing capabilities. So they no longer want to sell them, obviously. But if we identify that they've marketed that before, we've got to get letters of intent. We've got to get bank statements showing that they have the liquidity to support a fine by the card brands if it were to find out that they were still selling those products. This is kind of uncharted territory for me, and I've been in the industry for a long time, but it's a new product and it's something that all of us are kind of learning as we're starting to underwriting these types of business. But go after them, right? CBD, which was, it's prevalent everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. There's a boom about it. Some people think it's a fad. I think it's going to be a fixture, and it's not just going to be here today and gone tomorrow. So sign these merchants up, and don't be concerned what levels of or percentages of CBD that they sell as part of their products. We can take any and all kinds, and we can also do online as well.
Where does this like sensimilia come in, Dan?
I think that's just a different slang term for marijuana.
Oh, like 2 finger, 3 finger. Is that a thing or no?
Yeah, that's more of a measurement type.
Got
But that's old school, man. I know you used to get 3 finger lids all the time. If I was in your day, I would have given you a 1 finger lid, and you'd have been happy with it. But
no. This was like no.
um,
3 finger was nothing for me.
I don't even know where to go with this, so we're going to get back on. So, Brian Linky, I was looking. So, there is Zemp LLC, 1406 West Winona. And by their advertising, they do not advertise any of the Delta 8 or any of the other ones that are the cranium and all those stuff that are there and the synthetics that we can't do. And it looks like it could be a potential for Brian Linky to 1406 West Winona. We're talking in the snow and a
On my
cold
way, Nate. I'm on my
you
way.
can be there pretty quick. There are two others that I see in Warsaw, Indiana. Both are advertising Delta 8, which is also something the states are becoming a little more like, that's becoming a little more regulated. But I mean, Brian, what do you think when you're going into a new industry like this? Like you didn't know much, you didn't even know there's a difference between CBD and THC, and you just thought it was all weed. If you're walking in the door, how are you prepping yourself and trying to make sure that you walk in the door to ask the right questions and not misrepresent yourself to them and make sure that you get the information? Talk us through your process if you're going to walk over to Zemp LLC over there on Winona Ave.
Again, it's a good question, and I think the simple answer is you go in there and you pitch the company, you ask plenty of questions. You don't promise anything because I think that's the worst thing you can do is promise and not knowing that you can fulfill that promise. Get a statement, come back to the office, call Danny Shard, and have a discussion about it because I guarantee you that place on Winona Avenue, they already know what's going on, right? I mean, they're in business. They've been told already, high risk merchant, and I think you just go in and just you go in with a list of questions, not too many, only because you want them to do most of the talking, right? I mean, and that the sales 101 is the person who talks first loses. So you want to ask some questions, you want to get all the pertinent information, knowing that it's a high risk business anyway. Coming back and then going in and see if we can actually do it. And Nate, again, you're scaring me a little bit because all these CBDs and TH this and that, all that. I don't even know what you're saying,
Okay,
but
wow.
but
We're
but yeah, no. I think you approach it like any other business. I think
Yep.
That's
you go
exactly
in
right.
and you just ask questions and let them do the talking.
Danny, are you seeing as our partners are starting to see this and say, "Hey, man, we can do this in paper tech. We can use the exact same systems. Everything can work just the way it does all the other time." Are you seeing them also introducing Edge and cash discount into the CBD world? And I would think that would be very popular with these places.
Without a doubt, and that's all we're really seeing. I come to think of it, I don't think I've seen one of these merchants set up that's not taking advantage of Edge or a form of cash discount in some way. So it's absolutely popular with this type of vertical, and up until this last couple of months with us especially, but industry wide, these are difficult to place merchants, right? They just are. These merchants have been put through the ringer, had reserves, maybe had their money held up for chargeback periods and terminated because of the products that they're selling and maybe the misunderstandings with sponsor banks or underwriting. So we're able to see a lot of these merchants come through our systems, and a lot of them are getting approved without issues. So go after them. It's a cash grab right now in the CBD space.
Well, I think too, right, Dan. I mean, I think you made a great point there, in the fact that I think they need us maybe more than we need them,
A
right?
lot of
And
times, yeah,
I think
for
if you
sure.
approach it that way, because again, they already know, right? I mean, they've been told, they've been declined, they've been high risk and all that. So I think going in there, just pitching, what we do and how we do it. Again, I think these people are going to be more than happy to talk to you.
I love it. we have lots of opportunities like this. And as the industry changes, as we grow, as banks become a little more open to certain industries, being the first can be extremely profitable. It can bring you huge opportunities, especially in some of these, middle urban and suburban and to urban areas where you're seeing, 1,000 of these in Indianapolis. I was looking at over 1,000 Google hits when I typed in Indianapolis CBD stores, and I see them all over the place. And I think it's an opportunity for you to go in, sell them, connect with them and say, hey, I think I can help you out. Let's go through this process. I think we'll save you a lot of money and give you a better service and provide you an opportunity here. And let's do it, because we haven't been able to do it. A year ago, this wasn't even a possibility. Right now, you can go after CBD. And Danny, what's the most important thing? If they wanted to learn more about this and they give you a call, what are the things they should have ready for you when they first talk to you about maybe a store that they're working with?
Yeah, let's talk about type of business. Let's talk about specifically what type of merchant it is, just so I can prepare you. I think, just like Brian just said, with any of these unique business types that you haven't really approached before, it's just about being prepared. So kind of how the conversation should go, what to expect, and you're asking for the right things up front so you can provide it to underwriting. As salespeople, none of us want to go backwards, right? So we want to be able to be upfront and be transparent with the merchant and try to get everything up front before we submit it, and that way you don't have to go back and ask for more stuff. So it's all about just preparing for the opportunity and identifying what it is, and let's talk about it.
I love it. All right, gentlemen, as we close out the day, just a quick, little reminder about all the stuff we've got going on. I want to say it's February. Next week we're coming up on Valentine's Day next week. We're in the middle of February. We have promotions coming. March is coming. All the stuff. What do we say to our partners? Get them excited. Danny, what do you say? Let's go to you first. You're going to be taking a little bit break. That's important to do. You're going to be soaking up the sun. But what do you say to our partners to get them excited about what's going on in February?
Yeah, take advantage of everything going on in February. We've got a lot of cool stuff happening. Some new systems rolling out. We just talked about Charge Zoom last week, and there's going to be more on that as well. Just a lot of exciting things happening here at PaperTech. And be prepared for some other things coming up next month and opportunities to make even more money.
Absolutely. All right. And Brian Linke, how about you?
Dan, what are you hinting at in March? Was that a little subtle hint?
No.
I think it was. But we won't elaborate.
Well, it's not really subtle.
It becomes a lot less subtle when you bring it back up, Brian Linke. We're just saying, hey.
Hey, you know what? At least I was listening.
Hey, that is true.
Just remember, sales. What I say last week, week before, sales never sleeps, right? So, and the things that we do here for our partners and our agents at PaperTech, again, I think is something that you shouldn't have to get excited. You should already be excited, right? With the bonuses that we're paying and the residuals that we're paying and the things that we do. This is just another thing that's added to our repertoire, to put an arsenal in a bullet in your gun, another thing for your arsenal. So again, these things just continue to add up, and just more ways to make money.
All right, and on that, I say thank you guys for watching, for listening, for subscribing. Make sure you leave reviews wherever reviews are allowed. And thanks so much. If you have more things you want to learn us to talk about, you can email me at nmanahan@papertech.com. And this Thursday, we're going to have a special retail cloud webinar. You'll see the information in the email that you probably got this from. Or if you're watching, subscribe, go search for the email from me that gave you a link to sign up for the webinar for Retail Cloud and 6POS this Thursday. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time on the High Five. High five, everybody.
High five, everybody.
Don't spill the bong water.